been hitting emerald and sapphire, and you're like, oh, I want to get to know this new person, this new leader. And Autumn is one of those. And so it's a blessing to be here with your team. So right before I hopped on, I asked her, well, hey, how long were you thinking you wanted me to share tonight? Because I forgot to ask that little detail. And the time frame that she told me is more than I'm used to talking. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to bore you guys by rambling.
You're fine. Just do what you normally do and you're comfortable with. That's totally fine.
Well, I often can end up going longer than I think I will. But my point is, I know probably you guys have heard so many amazing things from Autumn and your team and your sidelines and your upline. I probably have nothing new to offer. But that's okay, because here's the thing. What worked for me 8 years ago, 7.5 going on 8, when I started, is still working now. There's not a whole lot that's different other than things like Instagram is a much bigger deal than it was when I started. So I've had to learn to try to keep up with all the new technology and social media, reels, all that stuff. Okay, so we always need to be growing, but for the most part, the basics of what it takes between your 2 ears is really where it starts, is still the same for us today. The company is just as amazing as it was back then, even more. Our products are still just as powerful, and we even have more to offer. So I feel like you guys now have everything at your fingertips. No excuses to not make this an amazing business for your families. The virtual office, the Engage app, I mean, on and on, maybe to the extent that it can almost get overwhelming. But here's the thing, it's all there for you. And if you have a question, it's there, everything. So back when I started 7.5 years ago, I was only going to try the products. I wasn't interested in more than that until, well, because it was network marketing, really. That was really all I had against it, because I had a disillusioned idea of what network marketing is. So I took the products as a customer, but they only lasted me for 2 weeks because my husband came along. He's like, well, I want to try this too. And so we just, in 2 weeks, we were out, and I called my friend and I'm like, we kind of like this stuff. We think we might be, well, no, I take that back. I don't think I was noticing anything at that point. I just felt like I was a little bit ripped off. I wanted to at least try a full month. So I said, how can I get more of this? And we decided to join and get the cheaper cost. Well, as soon as I did that, she had also just joined like 2 weeks before me. So she was kind of new, and she was just starting to learn what this can be as a business too. And we were so excited about the products. I was ready to start telling some of my friends about them because I knew they needed them. I knew nothing about making any money myself, getting compensated, but just understanding the uniqueness of the pink drink, I instantly had a list of 12 friends I wanted to tell, because you don't keep something this good to yourself. But my sponsor, Kristen, was starting to learn about the company and the possibility of what this could be as a business. And she knew we were struggling financially. So she called me and said, hey, Brenda, I think this is something you guys should look into. And I think this could be that answer to prayer that you've so desperately been praying for. Of course, my husband didn't want to have anything to do with it, but he did take a look at the comp plan. In fact, I think the following weekend after I joined as an ambassador, we went camping as a family. And I remember printing out the entire comp plan. I don't mean just a comp plan summary. I mean the entire, 20 pages, and taking it along and sitting in the camper and reading that cover to cover and just soaking it all in and looking at the possibilities. But do you know how daunting 4,500 points looked, to be diamond at that point? That wasn't even really on my radar. But I say that just to tell you guys how serious we were. And if you haven't yet printed out the comp plan and read it from cover to cover, I challenge you to go do that.
Yes, it's in the back office, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's back there, guys. Go do it.
Just have to search, find what you can find. In fact, when I joined, our back office was, not nearly the great resource that it is now, but we did have a few things like that. And I clicked on everything, read everything, and listened to every video. And I took the time to do that because I guess what I want you guys to start to envision here is that I saw what this could be for our family. So my friend Kristen was privileged to live in an area where there was a couple diamonds already. And so she went to an event where they were sharing, and she actually physically saw one of their checks, because back then it was printed checks in the mail, what we got in Flexus. And she saw a diamond check and she called me and said, you know what I just saw? This is for real. I'm seeing what these ladies, just stay-at-home moms, are making. And I think that's really what gave me the vision. If someone else did it, then I can too. I just need to know how. Just tell me how. And she's like, well, here's the comp plan, or here's the back office. Here's a few videos. I think Sonia Dudley, Sarah Marble, sure, who else even? Those are the ones I can remember had a few videos out at that point, that like on YouTube that we could watch. And that's what I did when I was folding laundry, when I was washing dishes, when I was rocking a baby. I was listening and reading all this in my first month. I devoured it because I was committed. Once we saw what this could be, it felt kind of like, okay, I've been praying for this. God brings it. And then I'm just going to slap it away and say, nope, this isn't what I had in mind. I had been, wishing for a change for our family. I had something like gold in my hands to offer to my friends. And then I would just say, nah, it's network marketing. I don't want to be one of those people. I mean, I had to get past some of that, but it didn't take that long, because you guys, this is so cliche, a once in a lifetime opportunity. It really is. And I figured if I don't take a hold of this now and commit to this, it's going to pass me by. And then what? Then I'll have to look back someday and say, I didn't even do my best. I didn't even try, didn't put my all in. If I put my all in and fail, you can sure feel a lot better about that than not putting anything in and saying, well, that didn't work. You didn't put all that you could into it. So that's really, I think, what started our vision for this as a business. Now, of course, it transformed my health. I was literally on the couch every day. I didn't sleep well at night. I would get up in the morning exhausted. I homeschooled. At the time I started, my oldest was 19 and my youngest was at 1. And so, I had very busy ages there. We had a home business. My husband built custom kitchen cabinets, so the older boys helped him with that. But yeah, they were all schooling, busy. So in the mornings I was exhausted. It didn't feel like doing the things that a homeschool mom needs to do, but we'd somehow managed to get through school in the morning and eat lunch, and I would crash on the couch every afternoon. In fact, the kids knew not to bother me for like a 2-hour stretch. I had a mandatory 2-hour time where all the little ones had to have quiet time, go down for naps. They each had their corners or their spaces where they were just quiet for an hour or two, because I couldn't deal. I had to have that alone time. They'd listen to audio or read books, or some of the older ones would go outside. In fact, I remember even times when I was so exhausted, I couldn't even deal. I had an umbrella I would place over my head when I was on the couch. That was a sign to the kids, don't you dare come close or bother me with any questions, till that umbrella went down again. That's just the point where I was at. Well, I figure I can do this from the couch, right? So it didn't intimidate me to start sharing with my friends online or in person. I literally put together an email and sent it out to all my aunts and uncles. I put together another email group to a bunch of my friends from like this community or this part of my life. Or I wasn't really excited about posting on Facebook until I thought about how selfish that would be. And I'm like, well, I've just got to put it out there. This is for my family. This is for the people who are praying for what I have. This isn't for my reputation, although I wasn't really too worried about that because I knew we had something pretty amazing. And once my husband really, really saw what this comp plan could be, he said, go for it. He said, if anybody can do this, you can, because he knows my stubbornness and determination. So I what I want you guys to understand that I did, that I think you guys can do now the same, is I went in 100%. My husband and I sat down with the family and said, look, we have an opportunity to make some good money, help a lot of people, and get our new, bigger home. Our 11 kiddos and my husband and I were in a 2-bedroom farmhouse. My 2 youngest girls didn't even have beds of their own because there was no room. Once they outgrew the cribs, we just made floor beds for them because that's all we had room left for. But I knew God would make a way. And so we were learning to be content and make it work with what we had at the time, working hard for a better vision for our family. So the family knew that I was committed to this. It was going to mean they had to do some extra house chores. I would be at the computer more, I'd be on the phone more, whatever it took. And I would say one of the first things I did that made a huge difference was that I filled my calendar. I would talk to somebody, and if they showed any interest, I'm like, okay, let's get on the phone, or let's get together for coffee. Or someone would join and they'd say, I have a couple of friends I'd like to tell about this. And I'd be like, okay, get 5 more friends. Let's get together, get them in the living room. I'll come drive to your house and let's have a little informational party. I filled my calendar and I kept it full like that. Then that just became my routine. Someone shows interest, connect. Don't just go, okay, I'll send you a link, you can join, and then I'll follow up with you. Connect with them, get to know them, get to know their needs so you know best how to support them, and get to know their people and their friends. I drove, my husband and I told our friends, if you get to silver and you could get 10 or 12 people in your living room, we'd be willing to drive to your house within about a 8 to 10 hour. That was no big deal for us for a weekend or something. And so we spent some time on the road. Fortunately, I had kids old enough. I know I was blessed that way to stay with the younger ones, so we could do that now and then. But I went and booked a bunch of fairs to do booths at, which I don't recommend as a great way to grow your business. You don't have the personal trust and connection with strangers that you do with your own network. But it was a great experience. And I did it because that's the only way I knew how to do a business. That's what we did with our own cabinetry business. And so everything I could think of to do, I did. Okay, I was already busy. Now, granted, these products got me off the couch. I had energy to go do all these things. But people look at us and go, oh, they want what we have. They'd love to, have that income, be a diamond. And I don't want to tell anybody, oh, it just happened for us. It's super simple. Oh, you can do it too. Just go post on social media. There's so much more than that. I think if the commitment wasn't there, it's kind of like my friend Michelle Thomas. Maybe some of you know her. She's a diamond in Plexus. Told me one time, she said, Tim and I committed to success. That's what we committed to. And once we committed to that, we knew that's what we had to go for. To back off would be breaking that commitment. And for my husband and I, because of the place we were at with debt, our business struggling, and the tiny home we were in, we looked at it as we had no option. We had to do something, and this came along. And so once we committed, we just knew we had to do all the things. We weren't going to back off or back away. And it was hard work. But y'all, it has been so worth it. Yes, I had people say no. The first person that quit and got their money back was my mom. I had friends who would message me and say, hey, are you just talking to so-and-so, such a person, just to recruit them into your business? They'd see me commenting on a post or something. And there were times when I would be accused of things like that where I never intended it to be that way at all. I committed to really, actually, even before Plexus, I was tempted sometimes to just get off of Facebook, waste of time, scroll and you just get lost. It's just a time waster. But I had decided, purposed about a year before Plexus came along, to use Facebook as a way to bless others, to just put out good content and make somebody's day. And so I continued to do that. And I got accused of being, trying to, what's the word? Yeah. Make friends just for that purpose. That didn't stop me because I knew that wasn't my heart. So I hit a lot of roadblocks and a lot of struggles. I remember, I think it was somewhere between Ruby and Senior Ruby, I saw I was going to be headed towards Emerald. And this is for real, you guys. I got worried that my network was going to sort of dry up. Had talked to so much of my, you know, um, warm market, I guess you call it, the original people in your life. And I'm like, hi, I need more people. I want to go Emerald. I want to go Diamond. I've got to find more people to bring into my network. And I got online. I started Googling women's network um, in my area, women's network events and meetings. And I went and joined a couple in our local city. I drove an hour and a half twice a month to go meet up at these networking meetings. I mean, does it sound crazy to you guys, all the stuff I did? Yes. Meanwhile, I kept homeschooling. Meanwhile, I, did all the things helping my husband's business. Eventually I had the blessing to travel with Plexus and go to Hawaii and all the things. But I hope I'm just kind of giving you guys a little bit of an idea. Autumn said, share your story and how you got to Diamond with being busy and what it takes. And y'all, that's what it takes. Just learn all you can. I got a lot of these ideas on what to do by hearing from other people who were successful before me. I know one of the first things Kristen told me was, I'm new to this too. I don't know much about it, but I'm just following the people before me who have been successful. And so we decided we're just going to start copying people. Of course, you adapt and make things your own. But I literally stood in front of the mirror practicing how to share a product presentation based off of what I heard from Sonia Dudley. And that's what I did. I kind of got my routine and I just kind of kept doing that over and over. I'd travel to different areas of, when someone would join and go silver, I tried to go connect with them. I even rented, I guess that's what you call it, a room in our community building in our local town for did we meet there every month, I think, for years, $20 a night to go. There's just, everybody knew every month they could count on. I would be there, do the product presentation, the comp plan presentation. And sometimes it was just ambassadors there, but on average, we'd have a guest or two and we kept growing. So I just want to tell you guys, are you committed to this for success for your future? Because here I am in my 8th year and I have for a couple years now not had to work that hard. I have leaders under me who are, have come along and did what I did. And I still work because I love it. I still share because I love it. I want to continue to help people. But I don't have to fill my calendar like that quite as much. I'm going to be a grandma this summer. It's a new era for me. I want to, enjoy life, step back a little bit. But those first 2, 3, 4 years, y'all, grab hold of it. It's going to slip away from you if you don't. There's people all around you. You're going to hear from someone else if you aren't the one sharing. Think of it as a sense of urgency. I'm talking to you if you want to change your life, if you want a future legacy income for your family, that's who I'm talking to. If you're okay with just hanging out, enjoying being on the team, making a little something, that's fine. That's what you're happy with. But I'm here to inspire those who want more and want to make that big difference for your future. So just to tell you, it's worth it. If you guys have any questions or anything, I'm here.
Yes, I love this, Brenda. I just want to point out, you guys, how I can relate to so much of what you're saying, because I had that same drive that I was going to go and I was going to make it happen and I was going to figure it out. And I knew I was going to fail forward. And then I knew there were going to be times of success. And I, got creative and I did all sorts of different things. And when you want it, you go out and you work for it and you get it, because the freedom and the income that is possible here, like you're saying, it takes more than just sitting back and throwing a couple posts on Facebook, right? I mean, look at you, how you said you filled your calendar. You put yourself out there for your team. You put yourself out there for more prospects. You went and joined a women's network, which so you drove like an hour to go make like new friends. I mean, and we have, so many different ways to help you all fill your funnel, as we call it. But I love that you took us back to the actual work that it takes, because I feel like sometimes we just think we can just come in and just post our way. And if nobody's biting, then I guess this isn't going to work for me. I guess I don't have the audience that it's going to work for. And it's not the case at all. So anything you want to say to add on to that? And then I'll go ahead and you guys, I want to open it up to maybe a couple questions here if you have some for Brenda. And if you're just tuning in, because I know some of you jumped on a little bit later, Brenda has, as she said, been here for 8 years. She is a mama of 11, which still blows my mind. I'm a birth doula, so I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And I know just me having 2 kiddos, and doing life in Plexus, it takes me having structure and homeschooling. But you know what? I love that it has taught me this. In fact, I wish that Plexus was in my life sooner, because it's allowed me to actually like have structure in areas of my life in parenting and homeschooling and all these things that I didn't have before, because I didn't have anything in life that I needed to really have structure for, because when you're just a stay-at-home mom and anyway, did you have anything you wanted to say before we open it up?
Yeah, everybody has their own busyness. People look at me and go, "Oh, 11 kids, you're so busy." Well, I look at some people that have 1 or 2 and look at their lifestyle and they're busy too. We all have our version of busyness. Now, I would have to say my plate was pretty full. I didn't feel like when I started this that I had extra time, although I do think it helped that I did have older kids. Like I said, I could make a trip here or there because they were there to watch my youngers. Not everybody has that, but I would have found a way. Trust you me, I would have found a way, regardless what my life situation would have been. And I think that's the difference. And you said something that reminded me. I forget what it was now, but often memories will pop up on Facebook of older posts. And I recently saw, and I don't even remember much about it, but I saw a post of kind of a financial testimony, a little bit. Of myself, and maybe a vision for what I wanted for my family. And I thought, wow, I must have posted that when I was like, emerald or sapphire or something. I went and looked, and I posted it when I was like gold or senior gold. And it reminded me, I had the posture then of a diamond. And that was something I was also told, act like you're successful. I mean, not like falsely, but just put forth that success mindset and feel to your people, the confidence of you know what you have and where you're going, and share that with others. And I remember even practicing how to talk more confidently. So my first few Zooms were terrifying, but it's a skill, you guys. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's a skill you can develop now that just kind of emanates confidence and success, and it will attract people to you, and it will lead you to where you're going.
I love that. Yes. And it's about the mindset of taking that on and adopting that now, because you're headed there. So you take it on now. You're successful already because you're headed where you want to go. Okay. Do we have any questions from anyone that wants to ask Mrs. Superwoman, Super Mama over here, as Marie just called you? Any questions about the business or time management or anything? Let's shoot. Anybody want to unmute?
I have a quick question. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Brenda. We appreciate it. I have just 3 children and homeschool, and feel like I really struggle with the time management part of it. Like, really, there are days when I feel like I have to make a choice. Am I going to work my business today, or am I going to school my children today, or am I going to clean my house today, or am I going to do the dishes and fix a meal? And I feel like I so frequently, when I choose my business, feel like my family life literally falls apart, and it then is really stressful. And so I'm just wondering if you have any words of wisdom for like how you balance that, because I do understand, like, especially when making a push for a rank or something, that things are going to be out of balance, and like it's not possible to have this like perfectly balanced life all the time. But for sustainability, like, I want to be able to do this and not feel like I'm either drowning or not working my business. And so do you have any, like, I don't know, words of wisdom for how you, in a sustainable way, have managed continuing your business while being a mom?
Well, my first thought is I have a question for you. Do your husband and children fully know and understand and are on board with the commitment to your business that you have?
I would say to an extent. They're little, 3 and 6 and 9. So yes, in a way, especially my older ones. I would say my husband, we go through seasons of like, especially like after convention or leaders retreat, like where we would just both be on fire for like, yes, we see the vision, we see the goal, we're on the same page. But then you get like, here a year later, we haven't had anything like that. And I think it's very easy for him to slip out of, it feels like, what are you doing? Like, where are we going with this? And it doesn't always sit in a priority for our family.
I understand that completely. And that's why I asked, because that does help to know that they all do know what you're going for. You've probably shared your vision with them. So one thing that I found helped, just while we're on that subject, is to include them in little wins. So sometimes when I'd be like, okay, I got my 3rd ambassador for the month or whatever, however small it is, we're going to celebrate that tonight, or talk to them about your back to celebrating. Sometimes I just baked a special cake or something. It didn't have to be much. Get out some ice cream, go, whatever. But another thing that I felt helped is when I would share stories with them. I share names of people on my team, or, if this person goes silver, the whole house knew my new person went silver or gold or whatever. Include them so they feel a part of it and celebrate with you. Back to some practical things for your day. The thing with children is they need to understand you're there for them, but you're not their servant or their slave. They're there to pull their weight. They can learn that really, really young. And so when you say, okay, you have a little bit of a routine or a schedule for your day, it doesn't have to be super strict. I think super strict can get too stressful, but at least enough that they know what to expect. And when they have this they want to do and that they want to do, and they want your attention for this, you can be like, yes, we're going to do that later. You listen to this story or watch this movie or do something quiet for 30 minutes while mama does this, then we'll do that with you. And if you stick to your word on doing things in their set time, they become a lot more secure in knowing, mama's not going to just get so busy she's going to forget about us. She has promised she's going to do this with us later, and they'll be content to wait until that time comes. I found that helped me so much with, they want to, my kids are the type, they're kind of like me. They get up in the morning, they have this idea and they want this project and they want to go tackle it right away. And I'm like, no, we have to do our routine. You get your chores done, your school done. That's a free time project. So they had to learn to wait to do the things in their time, and then everything went so much smoother. And I had my free time and they had their free time because we all agreed upon a set routine. And it's doesn't happen overnight. If you don't feel like you have much of a set routine in place, give yourself some grace, just one day at a time. At least get your meals right on time. That's your first goal. Then your next goal is getting your school time, or we had school time, and then I would have time where the older ones would play with the little ones. Of course, you have 9, 6, and 3. Have a set time where the 9-year-old plays with the 3-year-old for 30 minutes. Just some of these little increments of time that gives everybody a sense of accomplishment.
Well, and Brenda, I can't help but think of like your kids, you trained them all that you needed almost 2 hours for mommy to rest in the afternoon, because prior to Plexus, you lived on the couch. So if you can teach them to have 2 hours, right? And you've got your little umbrella, which I love that analogy. I've never heard Natalie. I don't know if you're here for that. She had a little umbrella that she would sit with on the couch, that if the umbrella was up, her kids like knew to not bug mommy because she was having her rest time. So anyway, I love that analogy, and thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Who else has a question for Brenda before we wrap it up here? Anyone want to unmute themselves? Marie says, thank you so much. Maya agrees. Okay, well, no other questions. Oh,
I had a quick question, Brenda. So Natalie totally touched on what I was kind of curious about. But my follow-up to that would be, what would your day look like? So after the homeschooling, after your chores, what did your business day look like, and how much time did you invest in those early years? Just a side note, I work full-time as a nurse, and right now I'm committed to about 10 hours a day of work time. So I'm just kind of curious what your day looked like and how you structured yours.
Wow, you're amazing to be working your Plexus business in with that. Well, for me, like that afternoon time that we already touched on, since I had that already built in, that was definitely a time where I really, instead of laying on the couch, I was usually up at my computer, or I would fold some laundry or do something with my hands while I listened to videos, while I messaged people, all the things, of course. But I kind of got into a routine of checking in the morning while the kids are doing their chores. That's their kind of first thing, is they have their morning routine. So then I would be looking at all my messages and emails and just kind of going through and deciding which ones needed to be taken care of first thing in the morning, which ones could wait for the afternoon. And then, and that's still my routine to this day. I have that morning bit where I hit my office while the kids are doing all their morning routine. And then we did school, and then I usually had someone in charge of lunch. I didn't always have to make lunch myself. And so that was another time where I'd check in on messages or do something. I often found I like to do some of my phone calls and Zooms and that at noon or soon after. That's a time when I found people available. So that's when I would do those. And then of course my afternoon time, and of course at night, once the kids are in bed, usually if husband's happy and snoring, I would sometimes slip back out of bed, because hey, that's important to make sure his needs are met. And go do a little bit more. If I felt like I couldn't sleep, I had a little more energy, I wanted to get something off my list, sneak off and do that when nobody else cared. Because I did find family evening time was pretty important. And so I'd usually commit to just 1 or 2 Zooms a week, or, try to keep it minimal. Or I'd hear the family go, oh, Mom, not another Zoom, when it was practically every evening. So I had to just learn what worked for my family. That can be different for everyone.
yes, I love that. Love that. Awesome. Thank you for asking that, Carmen. All right. Any last questions? We have Donita and Tina saying thank you so much. They really just enjoyed your message and feel inspired that I know we all feel inspired. I mean, my gosh, if you can do it, we can all do it, right? And her husband is Diamond as well, you guys. For those of you that got on late, they are a double Diamond family. So living the life of freedom and what they have built with Plexus, and it continues to bless them. So Brenda, thank you so much for being our guest and for sharing your story. Loved meeting you, loved just hearing all of your wisdom, and can't wait to hopefully see you later in person this year.
I know, I can't wait till we get to see each other in person again. That's going to be amazing.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, everyone have an amazing evening. Brenda, God bless you, and we'll see you here soon, hopefully.
Thank you.